Well, a pretty straightforward win in what is usually a horrible place for Arsenal to visit. Not even a win at Goodison since the Arsene Wenger era. So that was certainly a good thing to get off the players' back. Um, Pretty much a controlled game for, I would say, 80, 90% of the match today. Arsenal controlling possession, slick moving and passing. The players linking together really, really well. I think maybe you could say there was 15 minutes or so in the second half, sort of at the start of it, where Arsenal looked to be on the back front a little bit, but overall, totally dominant. I think a bit unlucky not to score more than one, but certainly not under threat to concede. David Raya in goal did really, really well. Looked like he's been playing at Arsenal for years. Really nice to have his debut for Arsenal with a clean sheet. Did it away from home. I'm sure that was in conversation with Arteta about who was going to play, and it did seem pretty strange that you're going to give a Premier League debut to David Raya in a place where Arsenal, over the past couple of years, that, like I said, have struggled so immensely to get a result at. We remember, I think it was last year with Damari Gray that smashed the. I mean, it's horrible to think about. So really, really good. The players got that monkey off their back in terms of going to this stadium and the atmosphere that Everton fans have. You heard them the entire match moaning and groaning, and whether if it was at their players or the referee's decisions, which we can speak about a bit later on. Certainly, they make the atmosphere there intimidating, regardless of whether you're the team getting jeered at or they're jeering their own players. It's interesting that Arteta was saying before the game that no one is guaranteed a spot. Excuse me, after the game, no one is guaranteed a spot. I don't have a guaranteed spot. You have to take this with a grain of salt. I mean, come on, the players like William Saliba, Odegaard, Saka, Declan Rice, obviously, those players are going to be on the pitch every single game. You have them available. I think Zinchenko is probably another one. So, it's something you say in jest. I think he's sort of trying to deflect a bit from the goalkeeping situation. You don't see a lot of teams really switching back and forth with goalkeepers. It's not something, even though the football has changed so much in the modern day, goalkeepers tend to play in one competition and stay in that competition. Even teams like Manchester City, who are known to rotate players, rotate goalkeepers, especially with games like the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, stuff like that. Brighton, you could say have sort of experimented with their new signing Bart in goal. I think he played 2 games for Brighton this season, but now sticking with Steele there, who had a very good game yesterday against Manchester United, I have to say. So yeah, it's interesting to see. It comes around, what comes around, on Wednesday in the Champions League. Arsenal finally back in that glorious competition Wednesday at the Emirates. You saw rumors about Ramsdale being rested for Wednesday. Look, you don't need to rest goalkeepers. The game can change as much, even more than it has already in the past 10 years. But I don't think you need to be resting a goalkeeper, even if it's 2 games a week. It's just not the same strain on a goalkeeper than it is with any other player really on the pitch, any other of the 10 players. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm not sure if there's anything more to this, not the signing itself, but having David Raya have his, compete with Ramsdale in the Premier League. Usually you think he's going to play in the cup games. I think the Premier League is such an important competition. Arsenal's so close last season. To bring in competition is one thing, but to have a solidified, this is your man for this competition. It's not something that we've seen Arteta do before, and seems like he's sort of just gonna maybe rotate these 2 players, these 2 goalkeepers, wherever and whenever he wants. This, I think there is some truth to this. The fact that he said, no one is guaranteed for a spot. That could be form, it could be attitude, it could be any number of things that it's impossible for us to see, and unfortunately we're going a lot off of rumors. But remember, Arteta did sign Aaron Ramsdale. When he did come in, a lot of people speculating that it wasn't going to be a good signing, and he's been relegated and yada yada and all that shit that we heard and saw, and he sort of shut everybody up and has a moment here and there where you think could have done better. Seems to let in shots. Sometimes you're watching and think he just could have got a stronger hand to that. But certainly the way he reads the game, his distribution, his shot stopping, it's fantastic. It really, really is. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. David Raya, carrying on his form that he's had at Brentford all those years, looking really, really confident. So we have to wait to see. I mean, if David Raya starts in the Champions League on Wednesday, I think that's going to be almost too far. You don't want to kill somebody's confidence off in Ramsdale, and they're all for competition. We saw how positive he was when David Raya came into the club on loan, but look at Emile Smith Rowe. I was watching him on the bench today when the substitutions were being made, and I always like to see training pictures, videos where he's sort of cracking a smile, and it makes me feel a little better about the situation because he just can't get any minutes. 5 games this season, he hasn't played a single minute, Smith Rowe. I don't know what needs to change. It's certainly, it's such a peculiar one for me. I can't figure it out. I don't think anybody can figure it out what's going on really with Smith Rowe. It does make me worried. He's such a brilliant player. Love Emile Smith Rowe. Versatile. Havertz yet to sort of make his presence known. Big signing from Chelsea this summer. Came on a little bit of a cameo. Did all right. A little bit baby draft like today. The ball sort of getting lost underneath his feet and sort of turning around and looking around to try to find the ball. It happened 2 or 3 times today with Kai Havertz, but big presence, does sort of the dirty work that maybe Granit Xhaka was doing defensively, and just a big presence to have on the pitch. Not as Granit Xhaka. It's hard to watch him, leave Arsenal. One of my all-time favorite players, but certainly to fill that role, I think Kai Havertz is doing okay. He's doing a decent job. So we'll have to just see where it goes from there. Just real quickly, the offsides goal that Eddie Nketiah scored. At first, when I first watched it, I thought, yeah, he looks offside 100%. Goal goes in. Unfortunately, Gabriel Martinelli ended up hurting himself because of that. It was a brilliant finish, by the way. The way he opened his body up and just slotted it in the side netting, just like I think Trossard's finish actually was a bit more impressive. Weaker foot, opened his body up. I think less space, and it was brilliant. I love to hear the ball hit the post before it crisps the net. So that was brilliant. I thought Trossard slow when he first came on, but definitely got his way into the game. Such a brilliant little player, Trossard. But yeah, the more I watched and the more I rolled through Twitter and read the rules, people's takes on the radio, and it just seems like when I watched it back, I think it's obvious that Gabriel is not even playing the ball forward, so he's not attempting to play the ball to Eddie Nketiah or anyone forward. He was obviously looking to play it out wide to Ben White, not even as deep forward as Saka. It was clearly going to Ben White. He was right there, and Beto made the clear attempt to play the ball, deflected. So watching it back, I don't know how VAR can call that off. It seems like they're so worried about how perfect the lines are. You have to just take a step back and realize, how did it get there? Why is he offside? Where's the ball coming from? So it's very, very strange. I'm glad it didn't come back to haunt us. At the end of the day, it's 3 points. Arsenal still undefeated, as well as City and Liverpool and Tottenham are undefeated as well. And it's just sort of it affects everybody, right? This isn't a decision just against Arsenal, because it's going to happen again this season, I'm sure. The offside, the VAR, we never get descriptions or explanations as to what it is. We just get everyone else's opinion, and there's never really a sure thing, there's no facts almost. It seems like VAR is just there to cause controversy sometimes, which is really, really frustrating. Obviously, as someone who watches and loves the sport, so I can imagine it's frustrating for players as well. To be honest, I didn't even celebrate the goal when it went in. I thought, obviously, it was a brilliant finish, but nowadays you sort of just wait and wait if there's any speculation that someone could be offsides or there's a foul or something. I mean, the amount of times I've celebrated a goal been celebrating, and you look up at the screen and you see something under review or so. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for watching. If you have made it this far, I do really appreciate it. Champions League on Wednesday, back at the Emirates. Going to be such an amazing atmosphere. I bet all the fans going there are going to be right up for it, as well as the players. Interesting again to see who's going to be in goal. I think for the most part, everyone else is probably going to be unchanged. I would imagine maybe Trossard does come in for Gabriel Martinelli. He has to be assessed, like Mikel Arteta said after the game. So Jesus, I would imagine, gets to start ahead of Nketiah, just coming back from that injury. So, but again, Nketiah did well today, like he always does, a workhorse. Really, really glad to have Eddie here in the side. So, yeah, again, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you when I see you.